Hey guys and gals, this is Jules Boucher from Outperform Training Academy, and I want to speak to you about how much vegans really hate me. It's amazing how when you don't share someone else's view, how much they just become very despiteful or hateful towards you. It's sad. It's mainly because of these people are not enlightened human beings. This is the best way I can explain it to people. They are not uh, maybe educated. I'm not really sure. Their ego is still taking over their body. And I say that because I was also those type of person. You know, it's just natural human emotion. You get kind of defensive when someone doesn't believe in your system. But I've also come to realize as I grew up and became a real man that it's perfectly fine for other people to have different opinions. And so when I say that vegans really hate me, it's not that they really hate me, but some of them just really despise my thought process. But I don't seem to have a problem with their thought process. Like, I respect their thoughts and their reasonings, and even though I may find their reasonings obscure and ridiculous, I don't come at them or hate them or try to uh, put them down for their belief system. So, first, let me say this, that when it comes to veganism, if you're simply doing this because of a religious purpose, that's perfectly fine. Everyone has different religions and different belief systems. That's fine. I believe in Jesus Christ. Some people want to worship snakes. Whatever. If that makes you happy and it makes you a better person, go for it. But if it's not a religious purpose, what else would it be? So I often get this from vegans. It's because I don't like the way animals are treated. I completely understand. You should take a look at the hamburger laws. I think it's inhumane to the highest exponential point to the way animals are treated in feedlots. It makes no sense whatsoever that we have actually a lower amount of feedlots now than we did just 20 years ago when we had less people. We seem to have a growing population due to advancements in science of keeping people barely alive through medications and all these crazy surgeries instead of just making people take care of themselves. That's another story. But because of this, though, we've got massive need for food. Now, this is another tangent. I'm not going to go on it, but there's no food shortage, so I don't see what's the point of cramming all the feedlots. But once again, our feedlots are extremely inhumane for the practice of these animals, and it's the hamburger laws were actually created uh, by someone, somehow, some way. Take a guess, conspiracy theory or not, whatever you want to call me. But somehow the food industry, mainly fast food, as far as I'm understanding. I mean, I'm not perfect. I can't remember everything I read, and I'm sure something I read is not always 100% correct. But either way, these people from the fast food industry worked hard to protect their feedlots because in the birth of McDonald's and Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken and these fast food restaurants, the need for food at a fast rate, still don't understand that process either. But as far as I'm understanding all the history, there's a really good show on Netflix called History 101. The first episode is about the food industry, and that food industry talks about how feedlots became about and were heavily induced by the fast food industry. Okay, so back on point. So we used to have a lot more feedlots that were spread out throughout the nation, this and that. Well, I'm not really sure why, but there's less of them. So which means there's more of a demand for food, but there's less feedlots. So the animals are more crammed, or they're even bigger, or this and that. And last time they were let in there, we've known a lot of things about feedlots as far as the animals, as far as beef, were being fed sawdust, concrete dust, other byproducts, things to help fatten them up at the very end so that way when they were sold by weight, they would make more money. Um, it has nothing to do with the quality of the meat itself. They have a term called GRAS, which is GRAS or GRAS, and that is an acronym for generally regarded as safe. And what that means is the animals can be walking around in slop, filth, whatever, and there'll be holes on them with maggots eating out of them. and that's still considered a safe and good meat to eat, and they just simply cut that portion out of the cow when it's killed. That's not safe, but whatever. So we have all these practices, and the chickens are the same way. You know, it's horrible the things they do to them, and this and that. So if your standpoint from a vegan is you don't like the way they treat animals, I simply just always ask, well, then why don't you just eat pasture-fed, grass-fed, free-range animals? Because these farmers who are really free-range and organic farmers, they love their animals, and they don't want to kill them, but they love them. They treat them very well, and they take care of them, and they let them roam like they're supposed to. And I mean, that I don't understand. You know, why don't you just do that? So, you know, either way, if it's something that a vegan is against, I understand. Yet when I eat the meat, they are furious and they hate me for some reason. I mean, they're just really pissed off. All right. Another thing a vegan will come at me with, besides those issues, would be, well, the quality of the meat's not good. All right, and I agree with that. Our store-bought meats, for the vast majority of them, are pretty low grade. It doesn't really matter what you believe in or you don't believe in, but there's many research showing that the quality of meats from grass-fed and free-range and animals like that are just at a higher level. They're better and more nutritious. You see a lot of studies that meat's not good for you and this and that, and even if those research was pretty valid in their findings, once again, they're never using free-range meats, organic meats, things like that. So, you know, I know a lot of my fitness people who believe in the same thing I do still think I'm silly or I'm some type of hippie because I like organic. I mean, call me crazy, but I just don't like chemicals in my body. I think we are exposed to enough, and I don't see the necessity of putting more into my body on purpose. Do I eat them? Yes, absolutely. I do. I can't always eat free range and grass fed all the time. I just simply cannot afford that, but I do the best I can. And luckily, I can raise a lot of the animals that I do eat. What's the other issue? Oh, okay. Well, they'll have like, what's not good for you because it's bad for cholesterol. Oh my God. So it's another talk, another blog, another vlog, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But this shit is, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that. Okay. The cholesterol myth has been debunked a gazillion freaking times, and even the guy, Ansel Keys, who put out the information umpteen amount of years ago, came out and said that his research was bunked. Okay, so whatever. But this has to be the utmost stupidest answer I've ever gotten from vegans. The strongest animals in the world don't eat meat. Well, okay, so like an elephant doesn't eat meat, and a gorilla doesn't eat meat. That's usually the two they always give me. It must be in that dumbass China study book, which is not even a real study. But either way, there's holes through and through in that son of a bitch too. But either way, you're right. Elephants don't eat meat. Elephants will also stay chained to a peg with a string and never pop it out the ground because they can't figure out that they're 3,000 million times stronger than that peg in the ground. I've never in my life seen a monkey or a gorilla build a car, build a building, build a car, build a building, raise a family, build a house, work a job, get paid, pay bills, and function in society. You know why? Because they're animals. I love animals, but let's be realistic here. I'm a human being, they're an animal. I don't care how much DNA we share, that little bit that we don't share, it makes a pretty fucking big difference. All right? So, the veganism thing, it's just, I'm not trying to be ugly, it just sounds like a hoax. But that's why vegans really hate me, all right? They mainly hate me because I'll debunk their system, okay? Now the thing is they'll come out and come at me, and no matter what they say, I have something to say back. Not as in like in a childish way. I just have a realistic notion to say something back to them, and then they just get frustrated and get pissed off at me. But well, they're the ones who came after me. It's not like I went through Walmart like, hey man, you don't eat meat? Come see. So it's just, it's kind of ludicrous. It's like the movie Game Changers. Like, it's a movie, people. Like, it's fake. The things they picked out to say, it's cherry-picked research, and not even telling you the whole point of the research itself to make it sound good. That's why they had James Cameron, a fucking movie maker, make it so it sounds awesome. It's to make money. It's not real. Like, yes, people are vegans, and yes, some people are healthier, but what were you doing before? Like, you were living off Turstall strudels. Oh, I was eating steak all the time and this and that. Well, let's go through some common sense here, all right? Let's throw the research out the window. I love Paul Chek, I love Lane Norton, I love all these guys who back their things up with research. I'm gonna back this up with just pure fucking common sense. You ready for this? Okay, here we go. If meat was so bad for you, we would all be dead. The human population would have died off a long time ago when the vast majority of your diet was meat. Like when shit didn't grow and all you could do was kill an animal to survive. Yeah, the human population would have died off a long time before 2020, a long time before 1990, and a long time before 1980, and a long time before 1920, and 1820, and 1720, and 1620. This is the same process, or the same type of people who love to tell me, make sure you stay out the sun, because you'll catch cancer and die. I'm wondering if these people even realize that when skincare came out, such as sunscreen, them speaking of, the rates of skin cancer actually rose through the roof at that point, and it has been climbing ever since. Now, I'm sure it's not just sun, but you ever thought that maybe because you're exposing yourself to just endless hours of lathering chemicals all over your body, that you're just exacerbating the problem? Because I'm gonna wake you up. If the sun was bad, we'd be fucking dead. We would have died a long time ago, when the retards were eating meat. All right? So, should you stop eating meat? No. It's just stupid. If you want to, that's fine. I'm not going to say anything to you about it. Unless you come to me and say, hey, Jules, I'm thinking about stop eating meat. What do you think? I think it's dumb. And then we can go through a big old conversation if you want. But I'm not going to go out of my way and find you and try to put you down for your practices. I don't have a problem with it. It's perfectly fine. But I don't think you should stop eating meat.